Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Muller here. How's everybody getting along? Thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather Eastern and Weather Northeastern. Well, guess what? Many of you are probably wondering, when is winter ever going to materialize here across the East Coast? Well, I got some bad news for people who like snow. I got some good news for people who hate snow. Yeah, you're just going to continue to get more of the same here. No snow back east here. This is going to continue to keep this pattern where we get these storms parading out west, rounding the bend, giving way to Colorado low and stretching up through the northern Great Lakes like this. And you know exactly what that means. You know this old song and dance is just going to continue and continue and continue. It's really hard to break a pattern like this. And look at this. As we continue in time here, we just continue one big old low after another ejecting out like this. Now, some of them will head a little bit further east, but you get the gist here. The trend is warmer here across the east, and unfortunately for people who want snow, this just is not cooperating. Let's get into all the specifics here. All right, so as we take a look at our polar vortex here, this is what's been going on with it. It's just been pretty much absent here across North America. It is literally north, or just whatever direction you want to put it, just off center of Greenland. It's basically consolidating here over northeastern Europe, northwestern Asia, and that's going to continue here through the February 11th. Take a look at this. We just see this positive cell over here in North America. That's just going to continue that warmth, especially across the east. This cell of the polar vortex continues here to consolidate over northeastern Europe, and it's just not cooperating. We might start to see a little bit of a weakness, a little bit of it break off here across eastern North America towards February 14th and 15th. See how it kind of breaks off just a little. We have a little bit of these bluish colors, but you know what? That typically signifies that any storms that try to bring moisture here along the East Coast get shoved out to sea with this kind of orientation. So that's just not impressing me one bit. And look at that. Towards February 18th, that cell consolidates again over Europe and Asia. It's just really not cooperating here across eastern North America. And look at this. As we go in time, we may start to see subtle hints that it's trying to drift a little bit more towards the pole or north of Greenland. But you know what? It's just not there. This is just a pattern that's very difficult to break. So let's take a look at our 500 millibar height anomaly here. It gives us a good idea what's going on upstairs so we can figure out what's going to go on downstairs. Look at this, Saturday the 11th here. Yeah, we get this system here across parts of the southeast, but you know what? We've seen this time and time again. Look at this high pressure. This is like a firecracker ridge, and it's just going to continue here across the east. As we continue to go out in time, you see these little impulses right along it. Look at out west, trough in the west, ridge massively in the east here. Look at this. This is a pattern up here in Greenland. You don't see any blocking, so it's not conducive for East Coast snowstorms or blocking for that matter. We're just going to get that ridge continuing here through Friday, February 17th. Take a look at that. So let's get a good idea with the CFS medium range climate models. You can see as we go through the rest of February here, are you seeing a common theme here? Yeah, except for that little blip there where we get that system around the 25th here in the east. Just focus on the trends. The trend is this. It's basically, look at this, is going into March 4th. Massive ridge across the east. It's a very difficult pattern to break, and I don't see it breaking anytime soon. All right, let's take a look at our mesoscale models here. We got some problem areas here as we go out in time. Let's just take a look and see what we got going on as we start off your future radar here. Look at this. So this is a system here that's tied to the central Texas low here. Take a look at this here in the northeast. Yeah, Tuesday at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Yeah, you're going to get some brief period of snow, sleet, and freezing rain, mainly in the higher elevations, but look how quickly that changes over to rain most areas. So it's mainly going to be a rain event. You know, there are some advisories in some of those higher terrain. You get a little bit of a lake response here Wednesday at 9 a.m., but that's pretty much cleared out by then. Look at our next low here. This is mainly a rainstorm here across parts of the southern plains, and then look at out west here. Things are clearing out here for the time being. So let's continue to put our future radar in motion out here. The big story is going to be showers and thunderstorms here across parts of the southeast. Some of these could be strong, so we'll have to keep an eye on this as we go out in time. Definitely going to keep an eye out. Let's see if we can flip this over to our And this, my friends, is where we're going to see some severe weather. This is mainly during the day on Wednesday. Take a look at this. This is the problem area in particular. Let's just take a look at this area in particular here. It's going to stream all the way northward here, too. So we might have some isolated cells here as far north as parts of southern Illinois, heading on into parts of eastern Texas. And then this, mainly this area right here, we're going to have to watch. So watch this as we go throughout 3 p.m., Wednesday, 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Take a look at this. So let's get our 3D activated here. Look at this. Some of the stronger cells here, could be packing a punch here. And as you take a look at the radar here, this is future radar. It's looking pretty nasty here for your evening commute, all the way up into parts of eastern Arkansas, stretching down into parts of Louisiana. We could see some not only big gully washers here, but damaging wind, large hail, and possible isolated tornadoes, especially early on here in this area. But take a look at this. As we go on time, this becomes more of a linear event. You can actually see here on the future radar, all the way from southeastern part of Missouri, stretching down towards the Gulf Coast here of Louisiana. We're going to be in the thick of it here. Some damaging wind, large hail, frequent lightning, isolated tornadoes, still a possibility. So this is a pretty vigorous system that's going to bring some ingredients for some severe weather across the area. Take a look at that. And that continues eastward into Thursday morning. It becomes less of a severe weather event as it tracks east. But up here into the northeast, this is where things get a little bit interesting. Let me switch it back over to our winter radar. Now, initially here Thursday morning, we may see an onset here, potentially in parts of the Catskills and Poconos here. We might want to watch this area, parts of New England as well. Initially, some wet snowflakes, sleet, freezing rain may mix in. But you know what? We're really grasping for straws here. 9 a.m. Binghamton, you're into it now. Albany, there it is. Yeah. Mainly the higher elevations west of Albany. On Thursday morning, 11 a.m., you'll be seeing some wet snowflakes kick in, but that quickly wins out as rain. As take a look at this. This system winding up back here. Look at the upper Midwest here. Let's go back here west of Chicago. Look at this. Wow, we're getting some snowfall, accumulating snow up here. Well northwest of Chicago, though. So that should keep most of the heavier snow accumulations away from the Chicago area. And watch that. That's actually our last frame. And out west here, we got the next system waiting off the coast. All right, so I wanted to show you here the outlined area for your Wednesday. This is the slight risk of severe thunderstorms across much of Mississippi, southeastern part of Arkansas, down into Louisiana. As I said, I would not rule out here some stronger cells, maybe as far north. There's some, marginal risk up here into parts of all the way up to southern Illinois here. Definitely going to keep an eye on this, but this is the area right here from New Orleans up to Memphis, east of Shreveport, Baton Rouge, Jackson, Mississippi. This is the area Wednesday that we're going to keep a close eye on. All right, so let's take a look at the European model as we go out in time. I'll show you the GFS as well. Take a look at this. So this system here across Thursday, that's our severe weather as I showed you on the mesoscale models. We'll start to have some wintry conditions on the backside of this system. It is going to be a quick mover, though, so that's going to limit snowfall accumulations, and you see it takes our popular track for this winter literally just coming up here across the Great Lakes, pushing massive warm air up across the east here. Now take a look at that. As we go out in time, this is grasping for straws. The bottle does try to form some secondary low here. Here's the primary low. You see this energy holding back. This is more of a trough than anything. High pressure is going to keep that system moving out to sea. So there's no energy on the northern branch of the jet stream to do anything with that system. And look at that. It just pinwheels. It's a pretty healthy low, 981 millibars. But you know what? We got high pressure here, high pressure here. We got no energy up here to the north. Just nothing to capture the storm here. And as we go out in time, look at this, a broken record. Tuesday, February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Take a look at this. Yep, it is another low pressure moving up like this. High pressure back east here. We're bringing those massive southerly winds, and look at back west here. We got another Colorado low starting back here in southeastern Colorado, and we got this massive cold blast out west here. Yeah, so if you like snow out west, you're going to get a lot of it. And look at this, from eastern Colorado up to the plains. This could be a pretty nasty blizzard for Thursday, February 16th next week, so definitely keep an eye on that. But look at that. That is a massive low, and that's going to bring potentially thunderstorms to the mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Do I dare say that word this time of year? February 17th. All right, so let's take a look at our total liquid equivalent precipitation. This will take us through Friday first. Take a look at this. So the Pacific Northwest and parts of the Southern Plains southeast here are your two trouble spots. Now, right up here on the backside, west of Chicago, you'll get some snow. I'll go over those snowfall accumulations momentarily. And up here in the Northeast, we got a little bit of a rain shadow, so to speak. We're not going to see too much here in the Mid-Atlantic as we get the first system moving up across the Great Lakes. We will see some accumulating rain, though, 1/4 inch on average, maybe up to a 1/2 inch. But, the big show here is going to be across the Southeast. Look at this, 2 areas for Wednesday and then Thursday here into parts of the Southeast. And let's extend that timeline out here as we go into next week. Take a look at that. Yeah, that's our system next week. It's going to add on top of the same areas that get it, and there's our shadow across the Northeast. I'll tell you what, you're literally, whatever way you look at this, you've seen massive quantities of precipitation here across the Northeast corridor for a period of 10 years, going all the way up to like a couple of years ago. But now you're starting to see a much drier period of time set in. It'll be interesting to see going forward if that's going to continue. All right, so let's take a look at our snowfall totals here, mainly across the west is getting a lot of snow, but there's our system as we head through the end of the week, Thursday in particular, here across the northern plains. We'll get some healthy snowfall totals here, up here in northern New England, maybe advisory criteria as well. Let's actually zoom in here onto the upper Midwest, and we can take a look at those totals here. Watch as we go through. There's Thursday. So, yeah, there's some areas here across southern Wisconsin here on the European model that could get upwards of 6 to 10 inches of snow. Take a look at that. Chicago, nothing. And let's take a look at the NAM 3 kilometer here. Take a look at this. So there you have it. That's really interesting. The NAM 3 kilometer is situated further west here. So the Euro is right in this region. The NAM is bringing in warmer air and further west higher totals here. So pretty interesting. All right, so let's take a look at snowfall totals here on the NAM 3 kilometer across the Northeast. Yeah, it's pretty much through Friday here. It's going to be mainly confined to the higher elevations, the Adirondacks, maybe, some ice down here in parts of the Catskills. But you know what? It's going to be mainly up here into northern New England, those higher peaks, especially above 2,000 feet. All right, so the GFS here, I know a lot of you don't like the GFS. I'm kind of right there with you, but you know what? It's always good to take a look at, get a different point of view, even if it is atrocious at times. So yeah, as we get into Thursday of this week, take a look at this system. This is exactly what I'm talking about here into the east. Look at this. This low just pushes right up here, as I showed you, into the mesoscale models. This is just going to bring that warm air northward here, briefly here into New England. You may see some freezing rain, sleet, and snow, but look at the warm air really just wins out here. And let's just take a continental view here. You're going to start seeing the west get pummeled here with storm after storm. Here is interesting here across the south. We may, by Saturday the 11th, we may actually see some wet snowflakes here in parts of eastern Arkansas, northwestern Mississippi. So we're grasping for straws here, even some wet snowflakes here in the central Appalachians. We'll keep an eye on it, but the big story is going to be out west here. Take a look at this as we go in time. There it is, the 13th, Monday the 13th, big storm. And then, of course, these storms have a tendency to come right into the Pacific Northwest and then cruise into the energy here of the Colorado area. And that's where we get these low-pressure systems. Look at that classic comma shape taking over. You don't even see any snow there in much of the plains until you get to Wednesday the 15th. There it is. Yeah, this is going to be a popular track, so the rich get richer with the snow. Here back east, look at that. More rain. And look at that, another rainstorm for Friday the 17th. Just rain, 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 rain. It's reminding you of springtime, isn't it? Look at that. So, yeah, out west here, we're just going to continue to get pummeled here with storm after storm. Back east here, look at this, towards the middle of the month, the 18th. It just clears out here across the east. And another rainstorm there for the 19th. Look at that. You get the idea here. Storms are going to start cruising a little bit farther to the north here. That's going to pull very warm air up here. I just don't see any snow opportunities through much of the rest of February here. It's just not looking promising. All right, so this is the part of the world I always look for if we're going to see a lack of snowfall in wintertime in the east. And here it is, Japan. Take a look at this. So yeah, as we go out in time, how cold and snowy does it look? As we go towards Thursday, February 9th, look at this. North of Tokyo especially, it is looking pretty snowy. Now, Tokyo itself looks a bit on the rainy side. That clears out for Saturday, the February 11th. But what's the trend here? That's what we're actually looking for. Not actually any storms, but look at that. Yeah, more snow coming in the 13th. So things are staying pretty cold up here. And look at this. This is what I look for, this massive cold wave blasting in. It looks like a good part of Japan, at least 75%, will be getting snow towards the middle of the month here. That is going to bring up the temperatures in eastern North America. And look at that. There's always some correlation here to this part of the world. And I really take a look at that because, yeah, things are remaining very active, cold, and snowy here in the island of Japan. All right, so let's take a look at the temperatures here worldwide. Gives us a good idea of the trends. It's pretty interesting to look at this because watch this. As we go out in time, this is what I always want to take a look at. When you see this big nose of very cold air across Eastern Asia into Japan there's Japan. And see that? You see this massive ridge, and then you get a trough here out west, and then you can basically see the trough ridge axes here. And then you got this big ridge here across Western Europe, and then a massive trough here across Eastern Europe and Western Asia, and then there's another trough there. So, yeah, we're really depicting here Eastern North America. This has definitely not been the winter season for you for snowfall. Now, as we continue in time, is this actually going to break at all? It just doesn't look like it. This is through February 14th, 15th. Yeah, we start to see some signs here, maybe of a reversal, but here across Eastern North America, you start to see this massive cold complex start to head to the southeast. But we've seen this twice so far this winter, and it never materializes into any East Coast snowstorms. And look at this. Here across Eastern Asia, you do see Siberia region. It is interesting because you want heavy snow to correlate across Eastern North America. But when you have it all the way down to Japan like this, it's just not conducive here across Eastern North America. And look at that. Eastern Europe continues to be plunged into record cold and snow. It's just not looking interesting here across Eastern North America. And to all my Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico, Central American, Latin American viewers here, what is going on down here? There is not much to talk about. That is the great part about this time of year. Look at those beautiful trade winds. And you know what? You can't ask for better weather. Those frontal boundaries do not make it that far south this time of year, even then. Enjoy. So how are my Western Pacific friends out here, my viewers? Take a look at this. Yeah, we got some activity just south of the Philippines here, but you know what? The great thing is it's going to stay pretty well to the south. We do have some activity up here in Japan. Take a look at that. It is a very rainy, actually, should I say snowy? Because we'll flip that over, to the coin of the term snowy. In some of those areas into Japan. But take a look at this. As we continue in time here, look at this. This is Monday, February 13th. So you literally go an entire week here. Look at this. Just take that loop until you start getting a little bit of showers moving in. Monday the 13th, there we go, into the Philippines. And, that kind of washes out, and we kind of keep a more rainier monsoon pattern that's going to start kicking in towards the middle of the month here. So, yeah, if you're in the central Philippines, definitely keep an eye out for this. But, there may be some sort of tropical development here just northeast of the Philippines. This is Friday, the 17th of February, by the way. But that kind of pummels off to the northeast here, gets caught up in the westerlies. And you know what? Another quiet trend sets in here. Take a look at this. Until about Thursday the 23rd. Take a look at this. We could start to get some showers appearing here in the southern Philippines. All right, so let's take a look at the European model analysis here with temperatures. It's just going to give us an idea what's going on pattern-wise. Look at this. You don't see many of these purple colors. They're way up here in eastern Canada. Even up here in western Canada, you see this massive, temperature swing up here. Look at this. Even across the plains, we're in the 40s. Northeast in the 40s. 60s and 70s here across the southeast. This is just not conducive at all for wintertime conditions. Look at that. By Thursday, we see a massive surge of warmth here across the east. We're actually going to be getting up into the 50s into parts of the Northeast, maybe even some 60s approaching the mid-Atlantic there. So this is craziness. This is just not wintertime at all. There's our lows, and then we go into the highs for Saturday here. It's well above average. Look at that. 30s. Just north of that line. So anywhere south of that line, you're typically going to be into those 40s and 50s. And look at that. There's our overnight lows, and then we rebound Sunday. A lot of 40s and 50s here across the east. And as we go out in time, look at this. If you live in the east, you're just not going to see anytime winter conditions. Look at this. Yeah, this is the 17th, Friday, February. Look at this, 50s. And even some 60s here across the Ohio Valley into parts of the Northeast. We do start to see a plunge of cold air. Let's get that out of the way behind this system, though. So it'll be interesting to see. This is around the time period of that interesting polar vortex feature. So we'll keep an eye on it here. Extended outlook from hometown viewers. Being to the Scranton's Upper Susquehanna River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania. Take a look at this. Wednesday, yeah, we're warming up to near 48, mostly cloudy skies. Thursday, that frontal boundary plows to the westward, bringing us up to 50 degrees. Quarter inch of rain washing away a lot of those salty roads, getting it kind of clean, which is nice. Friday, mostly cloudy, 48. We do cool down for Saturday, 34. More average this time of year. But look at this. Sunday, after a cold start, we go all the way up to 46 with sunny skies. That seems pretty spring-like. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather Northeastern and Weather Eastern. Don't forget Facebook MeteoMark, Weather Northeastern. Also, Hurricane Northeastern at Susquehanna Weather for my local page. And guess what? MeteoMark.com, WeatherNortheastern.com is Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget, question or comment down below. Smash that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell button, share the video. And thanks for joining me.